this is something I've actually heard. Not from guys in my age bracket, but from young guys. And frankly, it shocks me a little bit that this idea is still alive and well and haunting the souls of men. And I want to try to address this today. It arises out of a variety of circumstances. But the way I heard about it was, I see these guys, I treat women really nice. I'm really good to them. I'm a good listener. And the asshole ends up getting the girl. She always goes with the guy who's a total jerk. And they're totally confused about this. And of course, it doesn't seem like there's any options available, right? I mean, I don't want to become a total jerk. I mean, that's not who I am. So why would I want to be one of those, right? So what can I do? Compromise integrity, become a total jerk, be somebody that I'm not, or go without the goodies. What are my choices here? So is that it? Are those my only choices? Am I totally stuck in this polarity of being either a total jerk or a total wimp, of being a total ass or a total candy ass? I mean, is that it? Am I just a ping pong ball and I'm going to be flopping back and forth all day? And this is not just what has to do with women. I mean, the same thing applies if you. There's probably guys. Matter of fact, I talk to guys who get passed over for a promotion, and the ass kisser is the one who gets the promotion. They don't want to become an ass kisser. It's like, so what are the choices here, right? We have an enormous polarity in the behavior of men. On one hand, we got men who just kind of go along with everything. Everything is just by committee, right? And other guys who refuse to see anybody else's point of view and think you're the devil incarnate if you think differently than they do. We have men that are aggressively asserting things that are dangerous and stupid. And on the other hand, we've got guys that are trying to be really nice and new agey and compromise with them and trying to find a win-win with people who have no interest in a win-win, right? So we got guys with ponytails and reading their auras and chanting Om, and we got other people who want to blow up anybody who doesn't think like them. What's left? What are my choices? It's a self-sabotaging delusion. And I want to show you I want to point out to you why you have come to this conclusion that nice guys finish last. And the first thing I want to point out is that the only reason you could think that nice guys finish last, which, by the way, automatically includes the other side of that coin, which is bad guys get ahead, corrupt guys get ahead, evil people get ahead. The only reason you could think this is because there's something terribly out of balance. And all those qualities which you have labeled as being jerks and arrogant and asshole are actually qualities that you need. I mean, really, what's wrong with being an asshole if you need to be? I mean, if your family's attacked or somebody's trying to take advantage of you, are you kind of like trying to be in a win with them? Or you just go, get out of here. Another thing I want to point out, it's really important. Have you ever stopped to think for a minute that title of asshole is always assigned to the guy, by the guy, that other guy just beat? The guy walking away with what you want, he's the arrogant jerk, right? Are you getting the picture? Maybe it's just in the labels because he has access to something that you don't have. What about being strong when you need to be strong, and being soft and tender when you need to be soft and tender? What about being tolerant when you need to be tolerant, and absolutely resolute when you need to be resolute? What about being tender and supportive and listening, and then be able to hold somebody accountable like a drill sergeant? You see, we've cast the most negative light on those qualities which you very much want, and frankly, you really do need. And then you justify the fact that you don't have them by making them negative qualities that you shouldn't want them anyway, and he shouldn't have it. He should be playing by the rules. He's not playing fair. That's not fair. You need those qualities. The real power for men, the real balls for men, and I might add, the real wisdom of men, is knowing which qualities are called for in the moment, and then mustering the courage to use those qualities simply because the moment demands it. Look, you were taught as a child what it meant to be good. And that was always the rules of your tribe, what it meant to be good, which was behavior that was acceptable, behavior that wasn't. Even though the unacceptable behavior may have been who you really were, it was not acceptable to the tribe. So it became bad, and the rules of the tribe became good. Those rules were always some sort of variation on the theme of obedience, submission, following the rules, not rocking the boat, doing what you're supposed to do, following the path that you're supposed to path. And there was some kind of vague promise of this reward you're going to get. Oh, all the good things in life are going to come to you because you do all the right thing. And then there was a not so vague, actually a very crystal clear promise of severe punishment if you didn't follow all those rules. So it wasn't a choice, you understand. It wasn't like, I can be that way and get something. It's like, I cannot be that way. And so you take a vow. I mean, there's this little kid going, I will never be like that. I will always be like my tribe. And before you know it, this entire range of your inner self is gone. It's inaccessible to you. And then later on, you become an adult, and you get pissed off that all the promises for following the path didn't come to pass. And these other guys that aren't following the path, well, they're getting all this stuff that you want. So what do you do? What do you do? Give up on the stuff and say, oh, I'm good, I'll get my reward after I die. So I want you to get this. Freedom is being able to move back and forth to all those qualities that you have labeled as bad, and in fact they're powerful and you need them. It's only when you get stuck in one particular behavior and do not have access to the rest of the behavior that your life goes to hell in a handbasket. Either you've cut off your gentleness and your playfulness, or you've cut off your power. There's an old samurai saying, never trust a warrior who can't dance. You need both. Another thing I love to point out, the iconic, nonviolent, gentle Gandhi. Everybody loves to use him as the example of nonviolence and gentleness and all that. He is the very textbook of nonviolence. But very few people recognize his unfaltering aggression. He was not violent, but he was very, very aggressive. Uncompromisingly aggressive. I mean, he insisted that the British leave his country. There was no negotiation. Get out of my country. Period. End of story. And I'm sure the British thought he was a real asshole. To them, he was. But he had access to both sides of himself. He could control violence, because he knew he couldn't win at that. And at the same time, he could be so resolute that he was unmovable. Unmovable. No reconciliation, but no violence. The nice guy, quote unquote, who kicked a conquering nation out of his country. So if nice guys do finish last, and you know what? Sometimes they do. You have a choice. If the achievement you're after is important enough to you, you stop being the nice guy. You pull a different set of qualities out of your little toolbox, some that are much more appropriate to the job, which means you don't become an ass. You drop all of the rules you were programmed with. Programmed, by the way, when you didn't have a choice as to whether or not you accepted them or not. You drop all those definitions of what is the right behavior, and you start making your own rules. You start making your own choices. Let's really, all of us, let's drop this self-sabotaging, delusional belief. If nice guys finish last, don't be a nice guy. Period. End of story. But it's not really that true. It's just people who are stuck, men who are stuck as being nice guys, have a hard time finishing first. Because they don't know what to do. They don't have access to the power that'll let them do it. And remember Gandhi, the nice guy who kicked a conquering country out of his country. He wanted them out, and he would not accept anything less. And he was the iconic nice guy. Look, guys, you have two balls, not one. They're there to remind you that there is the warrior and there is the monk. You know, there's the CEO and there's the tender-hearted father. There's the strong guy drill sergeant and there's the compassionate listener. If we don't have access to both, we are totally off balance, totally confused, and stuff doesn't work. You don't have access to the tools you need when you need it. So that's what the Balls Project is about. Bringing the two sides together, the yin and the yang, giving you access to the whole total sum of who you are so that you can be totally functional and totally successful at everything in every moment. Join us in the Balls Project. We'd love to have you and engage in the conversation with other men who are on the same path doing the same thing. This is G.B. Walsh. Join us on the Balls Project.